Hi everyone. In this video, I will walk you through the REBA assessment within the ergonomics module of Kaizen Copilot. Uh, Essentially, REBA stands for Rapid Entire Body Assessment. It is a standard developed by the NIOSH, National Institute of Occupational Safety and Health. It's a research institute under OSHA. And REBA is designed as a simple assessment that anybody can perform. But the challenge with REBA is that it's defined for one fixed posture. Uh, Essentially, I have a REBA. Before we go into the software, uh, I want to quickly talk about uh, what REBA is. So I'm going to share my screen and I will show you uh, the standard REBA worksheet as recommended by, as developed by NIOSH. So essentially what you're seeing here is the REBA assessment worksheet. What anybody can do, you're observing a certain pose of an operator. You look at their neck position. If it's between 0 to 20 degrees, if their neck is bending between 0 to 20 degrees, you put a +1 in this neck score. If it's between above 20 degrees, you put +2. If it's an extension, if it's bending backwards, you put in +2 as well. Any angle at all, you put +2. Similarly, you locate their trunk position. If the trunk is if they are perfectly standing straight, you put in +1 in trunk score. If they are bending uh, between 0 to 20 degrees, you put in +2. 20 to 60 degrees, you put in +3. More than 60 degrees is +4. uh, Similarly, you figure out the leg score by kind of focusing on their leg just in one posture, right? As they're not moving, or you've taken a picture, you're trying to parse what's going on in that one picture. And once you have these three numbers for neck, trunk, and legs, then you go into a table A and you pick up a score out of that for neck and legs and trunk. Similarly, and you write that posture score down A down here. You also figure out the force or load score. If they are holding a load less than 11 pounds, you put in 0 here. If the load is above 22 pounds, it's +2. Between 11 and 22, it's +1. And then you sum them, and that becomes your score A. And you do something similar for their arm and wrist as well. You monitor you try to guess the angle of the joint on their upper arm, lower arm, and wrist. You write those scores here. You look up something from this lookup table, and then you add some sort of a coupling score there. If are they is the they're holding an object, does it have a well-fitting handle, or does it not have any handle at all and they're holding it in an awkward position? You write that score here, and then you can add an activity score related to, hey, is there are one or two more body parts held static for longer than a minute? Are there some rapid changes in their posture or an unstable base? You add 1 to the activity score, and that's how you get that final REBA, or rapid entire body assessment, or risk score, which ranges from 1 to 11. It could be more than 11. 1 means negligible risk, more than 11 means very high risk. The challenge with applying REBA is that if you have a long process, let's say you have got a video of a few minutes and you want to analyze perform this assessment over multiple of over that entire duration, that can be cumbersome. And what we've done in Kaizen Copilot is we are using computer vision to understand the joint locations and the angles of the human's joints. And then for every frame in a video, for every fraction of a second of a video, and then we combine all of those postures to give you pretty comprehensive reports. And that's and you all you need to do is you capture a smartphone video, you get it processed with the software, and you're good to go. Let's go into ergonomics. I'm going to do a live assessment in this call. Let's go to, I selected the ergonomics module. I select new. In here, I go into create assessment. I'm going to select, we have a long list of assessments that are available. I'm going to select REBA. By the way, RULA works pretty much the same way. RULA is just rapid upper limb assessment. It's all about upper limb. Typically, you would use REBA if the entire body is being used. If the operator is bending down, there is a lot of movement that's happening at the trunk or below the trunk level as well. Whereas you would use RULA if the operator is mostly standing at a desk and doing something on a desk on a bench top. But it's very similar kind of assessments. So I'm not going to go over the RULA piece. I'll just talk about REBA in this video. Uh, you can specify a load type so that the same load will be applied for every frame in the video, and then you can go into individual risky postures and choose something else. Just makes your life a little bit easier. I'll say the load is less than 5 kilograms for now, and I'm going to select one of the videos that we uploaded before. This will be garnished before process. Now the system allows me to first of all specify whether this is a baseline process or a post assessment. Baseline basically just means that uh, we are running an assessment on a process where we have not already performed some kind of an improvement exercise, whereas post is a label that you attach with an assessment that indicates that you saw this process and now you've done some kind of an improvement exercise, and this is the post improvement uh, assessment. So you're trying to see whether the risk score has actually gone down or not. We can specify some kind of a project name, and then it gives you the option to specify a risk interval type, where it gives you two options. One is combine consecutive risky postures. This is for, if there are multiple risky postures that are happening right next to each other, it will combine those risky postures. So imagine you have a minute-long video. There are two distinct intervals in that video where risky postures take place, and there is some cluster of risky postures. Combined consecutive risky postures will give you fewer risk intervals, and it will just merge consecutive risk intervals together. So you will have to you will have to deal with fewer intervals here. Whereas if you want to have a separate interval per risky posture, so if you want to uh, examine the video at a more fine-grained level, if you want to go through every risky posture one by one, you would typically choose separate interval per risky posture. Typically, for most use cases, I would use combined consecutive risky postures, to be frank. Uh, because this just gives me uh, fewer number of risky intervals to look at. Uh, so I'll select that, then I'll click on create. So it starts the assessment. It's going to take a little bit of time before the assessment finishes. In the meanwhile, I can create a new assessment and a second assessment in parallel, or I can just shut down the video and then just come back after a few minutes. While this is processing, let me quickly talk about some other capabilities within the ergonomics module. One of them is create folder, where you can essentially create folders and organize your assessments by folders. But there is also an option for create comparison. What that allows you to do is essentially, take for instance REBA, and typically you would take a pre and a post study. Hey, this is how the process looked like before. This is how the process looks like now. You will assign a project name, and then essentially what this allows you to do, a comparison type assessment will basically allow you to compare a before and after uh, status of a process. While our process is running, I'll just go in and I'll show you a quick comparison diagram. So uh, this is basically a toy example, but the after is a totally different process. But you can see that this is a certain process. This is a process. You can see the overall risks. The risk profile is different. You can see the risky postures, how they are different, what their scores are, and of course you can also generate a report out of it. In PDF form. So I was supposed to talk about REBA, but I'm taking a little bit of uh, uh, a break from that, and I instead wanted to kind of introduce this comparison feature as well, since I talked about the baseline and final piece. Here's the comparison report that it generates in Excel. Okay. In ergonomics, you can typically share uh, any results that you've generated. You need to provide a password. C 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for instance, generate a link, and then essentially you can copy the details. The advantage of generating a shareable link is that you can share that link with anybody who does, with even people who don't have access to Kaizen Copilot. All right, so the assessment is completed. Let's go in. I'm going to click on edit. We see that the software has identified two risky postures. One of them is this one, and the other one is this posture, where the operator seems to be pulling the cart with just one hand, and there seems to be a twist at the middle of the body. You can see that the software has basically computed the joint angles on every joint on the operator's body. Now, for both of these risk intervals, for both of these unsafe postures, I can go in and I can specify the coupling, the force load, and the activity score. Uh, in fact, in here, I know that around here, I know that the operator is actually lifting something that's in fact greater than 10 kilograms. And the coupling is kind of okay. There is a little bit of a rapid change at the base for the second posture. So basically for each posture, I have to specify these inputs that cannot be observed just by vision alone. For this posture, yes, there's a good coupling and the weight is just fine as well. Um, yeah, but otherwise, okay. I think that the input is fine. Uh, if you think that the AI has failed to detect some posture that you were interested in, you can always go into add unsafe interval. You can move this slider to different parts of the video, portions of the video. If you're interested in this interval, for instance, you can click on the space bar, uh, take the slider to the end of the interval that you're interested in, and then press spacebar again, and then confirm. As you do that, we now have a new risk interval that I just manually selected. And you could go in and you can specify uh, parameters about this risky interval as well. So, maybe I say, oh, look, the coupling here is just unacceptable. Weight is very high. Some other challenges is taking place as well, and I save it. Now I click on generate results. And it takes me to this page where on the top right, I can see my three risky intervals. The REBA score for this one that I just manually chose is high because I just said that the load is very high and other things. Uh, there are no real postural recommendations for it. For this posture, let's see if this is, again, the REBA score is 9. That's high risk. Investigate and implement change. If I go to suggestions, I see some suggestions in here. And then I see some, okay, so there's some postural information as well. Essentially, it's saying that the top of the back is right now bending this way, whereas it should have been kept straight. And then my other risk posture was this one. The REBA score for this comes out to be just 6. And there's some postural recommendation that's been generated for this as well. If I want, I can enter an assessment note, and that will be visible from the outside. So I can enter some kind of notes here. Use different kind of um, uh, a cart, one push, and I can just save it. There are other kinds of assessments available as analyses available as well. You can see a time-based analysis. In fact, even in postural, you see for every body part, every body member, you see the individual member level risk, uh, so on. You can see what the risk really corresponds to. We can go to body segment analysis, where we can essentially go to any joint and see the exact joint angle at any given time. So there's this, on the trunk, there is this high angle. Probably the person is bending at this point in time. This happens to be 42 seconds in time. Let's see what was going on at 42 seconds. Okay, so you see that this is where the operator was bending in this way. You can also see a load analysis where you essentially see, the different kinds of stances that the operator had in the course of the video. Of course, we can generate a pretty rich PDF out of it. Customers report that they are able to, really print it out and go and show this to actual operators on the line and help them educate them better. It helps them educate. It helps the ergo specialists educate operators better. And then there is a very rich Excel template that's built into the software as well, that you can output results in. We'll wait for a couple of seconds for the Excel to generate. There you go. And here's there are 2 sheets in this Excel. You can see both of the risky postures, their duration, and you can see exactly what the challenges are and what the overall risk score was. And then here you can see some more fine-grained information around individual joints and risks and so on. Again, if you want, you can share the results with somebody who doesn't have access to Kaizen Copilot. If I go out, I can see that there was this comment that I'd left, and you can see the comment from outside as well. Okay, that's it. Thank you for listening. Please give it a shot.